A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Lunchtime News, come to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo. I am Florin Rajendran. Before going into the stories in detail, here's a look at the headlines. Army PSD dissolved. Ranbhoomi Unity Rally commences from Thale Manar. Inmates engage in a fast on top of the Batticaloa prison. Former British Prime Minister Cameron leads the UK elections. Ranil Jayawardena elected to Parliament. On to those stories in detail now. The Army Presidential Security Division established by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa has been dissolved with effect from 30th April. This was confirmed to Newsfirst by the military spokesperson Brigadier Jana Jayavira, added that the army personnel who were deployed in the Army PSD have been deployed to their original regiment. He noted that a new regiment will be deployed for the security of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Moving on to other local news, bail was granted to 26 individuals, including Buddhist monks and politicians, to whom notices were issued for engaging in a protest violating a court order. 26 of the suspects appeared before the Colombo Chief Magistrate Gihan Pilapete this morning. Venerable Galagoda Nyanasara Thero was presented to the court and his attorney submitted the court to Venerable Thero was overseas. The magistrate ordered all suspects to appear before courts on the 13th of July at 2 p.m. Meanwhile, the court ordered a case to be filed against Mohammad Muzamil, who did not acknowledge the notice issued by the courts. An attorney who represented as an intervening petitioner said that Gotabaya Rajapaksa should also be named as a respondent in the case, and he too had made a speech at the said protest without heeding the court order. The Ranbhoomi National Unity Rally, organised by the MTV-MBC Networks, Newsfirst, National Youth Services Council and the Colombo Port City commenced from Thale Manar today.
The Ranbhoomi Rally for Unity, organised by the MTV-MBC Media Networks, the Colombo Port City and the National Youth Services Council commenced this morning from Thale Manar and just reached the Sri Lanka Youth Centre in Mannar. Now, as we reached the Sri Lanka Youth Centre here in Mannar, the brick engraved with Mannar was loaded onto the convoy of the Sri Lanka Ranbhoomi for Unity and will now head to Mado. Now, just to give a brief background of what is happening, the Ranbhoomi Rally for Unity will reach over nearly 4,000 villagers and 100 cities, and will collect a brick each from each city, and will use those bricks to construct a monument at the Colombo Port City. So stay with Newsfirst, where we will give you updates as and when it happens. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Shahan Jirampad reporting from Mannar for the Ranbhoomi Rally for Unity.
The Ranbhoomi National Unity Rally, which commenced from Thale Manar jetty, is en route to Madu. Half Sri Lankan Ranil Jayawardena was elected to UK Parliament from the North East Hampshire constituency at the 2015 UK elections. Jayawardena polled nearly two-thirds of the valid votes in the constituency. He received 35,573 votes, which is 65.9% of the total valid votes. His closest rival, Graham Cockerill of the Liberal Democratic Party, received only 5,657 votes. North East Hampshire is considered an ultra-safe Conservative seat. The Ranbhoomi National Unity Rally, organised by the MTV-MBC Networks, Newsfirst, National Youth Services Council and the Colombo Port City commenced from Thale Manar today. The program, the first of its kind in Sri Lanka, symbolizing national unity and reconciliation, will visit villages across the country and join the national rebuilding endeavour. The inauguration ceremony commenced this morning under the auspices of senior officials of the Capital Maharaj Organisation Limited, a group including the Managing Director of the Colombo Port City Project, Jian Yuliang, and the Chairman of the National Youth Services Council, Attorney at Law Eranda Veliange, were also present for the event. Several performances added color to the event.
The Maharaj organization is perhaps an emblem for national unity in Sri Lanka. The organization is blind to race, religion, caste and creed. But why did the Maharaj organization decide to launch and be involved in a national rally for unity? All of us know, understand and remember how much Sri Lanka has fought for, cried for, and even died for the peace that we are enjoying today. As we go through village after village, town after town, city after city, we hope to touch as many Sri Lankans as is humanly possible. We want every Sri Lankan to have some part in this national endeavor. And after 35 or 40 days, when we reach Colombo, when we build that monument for unity, we want every Sri Lankan to be able to say, I did that. We did this together. This is our objective.
The Zambumi Rally for Unity is a celebration of this cultural mosaic, diversity and beauty. When we embarked on this project, we had but one goal. Our purpose was singular. While our end goal is the monument to the national unity, along the way, when we travel from city to city, from village to village, we want to take with us a message. This message will be added to and will be enriched as our journey progresses. And this will be done by none other than yourself, the people of Sri Lanka. The message is yours. Is a message of unity, of love, of beauty and warmth. It is one of kindness and of grace. It is a message of every essence of humanity is played in all its splendor.
රටට හැමදාම අලුත් දේවල් හඳුන්වලා දෙන්න රටේ තරුණ ප්‍රජාවගේ හෘද ස්පන්දනය හඳුනන සිරස මාධ්‍ය ජාලය ජාතික තරුණ සේවා සභාව.
The MTV-MBC network, which introduced new concepts and understands the minds of the youth, had joined the National Youth Services Council in this social endeavour after discussions. At that moment, I must say that the National Youth Services Council had once agreed to join with the Ranbhoomi National Unity Rally. Why? Because the National Youth Services Council is an organisation that represents the entire youth in the country. MTV-MBC Networks is the only media network that appears on behalf of the youth in the country. The MTV-MBC Media Network is the only media network that had introduced new programs to the youth in the country.
වැඩසටහන් හඳුන්වා දුන් අලුත් නැවුම් වැඩසටහන් හඳුන්වා දුන් එකම මාධ්‍ය ජාලය සිරස මාධ්‍ය ජාලය කියලා.
වසර ගණනාවක් තිස්සේ යුද්ධයෙන් බැටකාපු මේ ප්‍රදේශයේ
This area suffered from the conflict for years. This is the first time that an event of such a scale has been organized in the Talaimana jetty. For 34 days starting from today, the convoy will make stops at 100 locations travelling across the villages. We hope that we will be able to build a strong and stable monument at the end of this endeavour.
ශක්තිමත් නිමැවුමක් ඉදි කරන්නට අපිට හැකියාව ලැබෙන්න කියලා අපි ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරගනිමින් අපි මේ කටයුතු ආරම්භ කරනවා.
The first brick was presented by school students marking the inauguration of the National Unity Rally.
Moving on to one of our local stories now, the Ministry of Power and Energy says that it is in discussions with CPC and Lanka IOC to provide them with relief without increasing fuel prices. Secretary to the Ministry, Suren Batagoda, notes that discussions will also take place in reducing the existing taxes. CPC and Lanka IOC had requested permission to increase the prices of fuel in a bid to prevent further losses under the present price formula. Secretary to the Ministry, Suren Batagoda, said that Lanka IOC has submitted requests in this regard on several occasions. However, Batagoda noted that as the CPC's currently losses stands at 4 billion rupees, their financial footing will enable them to bear further losses before reaching a critical point. Meanwhile, also commenting on the issue, Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake in a communique said that in no way would permission be granted to increase fuel prices. The minister said that as a government of the people who were dedicated to good governance, the government will always consider the needs of the people first. Two inmates from the Batticaloa prison have been engaged in a demonstration atop the roof of the prison. The demonstrators are engaged in a demonstration against the decision to transfer them to the Badulla and Monaragala prisons. They requested that they be given an opportunity to meet with the Commissioner General of Prisons or the District Secretariat. A spokesperson for the Prisons Department said that after discussions with prison officials this morning, the inmates let go of their protests. And that's a wrap of lunchtime news here at Newsfirst. With the Newsfirst team, I'm Florine Rajendran. Have a wonderful day ahead of you.